Hey, it's Tariq Nasheed. Join me this Friday on the Judge Joe Brown Show, produced by Valerie Denise Jones. Callers, you're welcome to call in. The studio line is 929-477-1167. Please visit MissValerieDeniseJones.com for additional updates. See you then.
Thank you, Tariq Nasheed. I appreciate you so much. Guys, you're listening to the voice of Valerie Denise Jones, and right now what I'm about to do is patch you in to a previously recorded broadcast featuring Dr. Randy Short and Judge Joe Brown. Now, they touched on a slew of topics to include, but not limited to, Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade, Billy D. Williams, Kamala Harris. The list just goes on and on and on. So grab your popcorn. Yes, you too, Philo the Great. I will meet you guys down in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.
May the force be with Billy D. Williams. The 82-year-old actor is being showered with love and support on Twitter after coming out as gender fluid. In a recent interview with Esquire, Billy opened up about staying true to himself, revealing, quote, "I think of myself as a relatively colorful character who doesn't take himself or herself too seriously."
It's so wonderful to know that people appreciate what goes on in our lives, I guess.
The actor goes on to tell the outlet, quote, "You see, I say himself and herself because I also see myself as feminine as well as masculine," adding, "I'm a very soft person. I'm not afraid to show that side of myself."
No, I know what she means. I'll take good care of her. She won't get a scratch.
Williams is set to reprise his role as Lando Calrissian in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
People keep asking me, how did I find Lando again? Well, Lando never left me.
And when he was told that Donald Glover, who also played Lando in Solo: A Star Wars Story, discussed gender fluidity and sexuality ahead of his debut in the franchise, Williams reportedly lit up, exclaiming, "Really? That kid is brilliant. Just look at those videos."
Donald's a really wonderful young man, very talented young man.
Here's what he recently told E.T. about returning to the role and the Skywalker series coming to an end.
I guess it's bittersweet. I don't know. It's a wonderful experience. I didn't expect it.
Do you believe that it's the last one? Because I don't know if I do.
Well, I have no idea, but it'll probably go on for another 40 years.
I want to say of Billy D. Williams, the late Khalid Muhammad used to call him Silly D. Williams. And I guess I will call him Sissy B. Williams. Come now. The other thing is, we've gone from Brian's song to Brian's thong. And it's not necessary. Even if it's true, all this stuff, why do people have to besiege the public with what they do privately? And yet, for example, if someone were to get AIDS, because that's my topic, Judge, there's an explosion in anal cancer, and black men die 80% earlier than others do from this stuff, and we can't talk about it, right? The public, so if someone were to get anal cancer, we're not going to be able to say, well, we know why he got it, right? That would be insensitive, that would be homophobic, that would be hatred. But yet, if this person went around ranting and screaming about what kind of intercourse they have, we're supposed to celebrate it. If a consequence comes, we better reserve our comments to ourselves.
You know that I have alluded to the fact that he is that way on many prior occasions. And I have warned the public that when you get too much into what Hollywood is about, you will find that all of these characters that you've been idolizing and modeling your own behavior on are not straight people, and they're trying to subtly turn you to their way. There's another thing in that clip that I found interesting. I do Twitter, and I find out of every 10 comments, 8 or 9 of them are negative. So this thing of overwhelming support is just BS. And that's part of the propaganda tactic that the Nazis discovered that they're using. In other words, if you want to get somebody to believe something, try and convince them that everybody thinks that way when most people don't. There is no overwhelming shout-out of support for Billy D. There is basically an expression of disgust, disdain, and disappointment. So I've said this before, when you start looking at Hollywood to guide your behavior, just realize that 8 or 9 out of every 10 individuals involved in Hollywood are swinging that strange way. They're Skittles, and they want you to taste the rainbow. Now, that's their right to do that, but we lost control of the media, the press, and politics apparently some time ago, so it's getting pushed on us. So let's remember what it is expanding into, this tranny thing, and think about your children. Think about your daughters and whether they're going to be able to find a husband, and think about your sons as to whether or not they're going to grow up to be men or something else. So that applies to your grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and any of the youth that you may be interested in. They're not really working on us. They're working on our children and grandchildren.
And why do you say that the fans that they're disgusted? Why did you use those words?
Well, that's what I hear. It's just expressions of absolute disgust. See, they portrayed Billy D. Williams as the ladies' man, Lando Calrissian, smooth, cool, macho. But you see, I can see the signs because, and I told you, he used to be Raymond St. John's date all the time, way back then. Raymond St. John's was one of the blaxploitation actors back in the late 60s. And he was tall, but you could see him walking in with Billy D on his arm, and he would have on 6-inch spike heels, rouge, mascara, lipstick, eyeshadow, false eyelashes, and big hoop earrings. So it was nothing new to those who were out there. You saw it. But it's just what they've done to the rest of the country. They've got people growing up over the last 40 years since that Lando Calrissian thing and Lady Sings the Blues and all of that other stuff where they have put somebody that is gay out there as an image of masculinity when it's not. See, I'm particularly into that aspect of it as a disease. One of my aunts, Aunt Bertha, was Billie Holiday's roommate for 11 years, and she was particularly offended when she saw that movie, Lady Sings the Blues, with Billy D playing Holiday's boyfriend. She just said, oh, no, that ain't even close. But you see, they do that. They're trying to propagandize the public. So this is interesting in that they are making their move too soon, and too many of them are coming out of the closet. Too many of them are doing that, like that clown we interviewed, Malik Yogurt, or Yoga, whatever, Milk Yogurt, and they've been deceiving the public. And when they deceive the public in the big thing, they use little small things to try and lure the public into doing this thing that they do.
Right. And why do you think he waited until he was 82 to come out of the closet?
I have no idea. Maybe he thought it was no longer.
Do you think this is a publicity stunt, being that the movie is coming out?
I don't even know if it's a publicity stunt. I have a sneaking suspicion it's just he feels comfortable with it now. Like Milk Yogurt did, and they're being pushed to come out. See, Hollywood has no straight black male or man voices in it. They got rid of me. They got rid of Bathurst. Well, he retired. But he wasn't getting paid that much. They got rid of
You said you and Judge Mathis, and he wasn't getting paid much. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm in the car, and I'm on the highway trying to get out of Atlanta, where it looks like they've taken this city over, too. That's their business. But, I mean, there is this thing of Well, anyhow, it's their business. They got a right to do it, but the rest of us are getting our interests swept under the carpet.
Yeah, I hate that they're manipulating the audience that way, though. You know what I mean? Like presenting the person as straight, and that's really not.
Yeah, Chappelle was straight, but look what they did to him after that. The race thing that he did on Netflix, that was some heavyweight comedy, but they all gave him bad ratings because it spoke against their little particular proclivity. So you really have no straight black voices out there that get to say anything. You got Denzel and Morgan Freeman, but they don't tend to hang with Hollywood. You got Samuel Jackson, but they put him through hoops so he can keep working. But I mean, you know, you don't have anybody black saying anything. And that's basically why I left. They wanted me to get on board that. And I said, no, I'm not going to do it. And then after a 15-year battle up and down, where every time you walked in the studio, you had to look over your shoulder, check your six to see if they were trying to set a trap, which they were. You know, that's why people get married in Hollywood so often if they're straight. Or even if they're not so straight, because it's not safe to date.
So what about like Will Smith and Eddie Murphy and Jamie Foxx?
Well, you know, they're on the gay side so far, it's pathetic. So, I mean, that's just what you get. You know, and look at the children. Look what the children are doing.
Right.
And there's that thing that you sent me. What is it? I don't keep up.
That was Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. Yeah, Dr. Short, you can chime in at any time, but yeah, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. Yes, sir.
Like the picture, that young boy with women's nails and painted up, white, iridescent white, and his belly all out, looking like he was trying to be a tranny, and his mama talking about that she likes it and all this other, and the caddy going along with it. Like,
how convenient
that is a disgrace.
that you put your son out as a premature tranny, and now you're a race heroine, and now everyone's running to defend her because she's a strong black woman. To me, she's the weakest, most traitorous, pathetic, disgusting black woman that's walked the earth. To whore and slut her son out. And I'm wondering if Dwayne Wade, did he do something? Did they both do something to that boy? You know that happens in families. I've heard rumors in Hollywood that people slut their children out. This happened with Judy Garland. Judy Garland was having sex with Mr. Mayor at MGM as a child. You wonder, what is Gabrielle trying to do? What does Dwayne Wade get off of slutting their son out? Okay, I'm just asking. If you're not slutting him, why would you force the whole world to know this? Normally, when parents have children with sexuality challenges or questions, you try to give them privacy and time to get themselves together. To put it on blast seems as if they've commercialized this boy's rectum like it's something to be passed around like canapes. I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves. In fact, that boy should be taken from their household and raised with the real family. And those folks should be in court somewhere because there's some kind of psychological, emotional abuse that's been inflicted on that boy. And if they were so into the boy being a girl, why aren't they raising the girl to be a boy? And last thing I'm going to say, there's some girl-rillas, as you say, Judge. There are some men and women, I'm going to deal with the mothers here, who have such contempt for black men, they think they're better off to have boys come up like girls than for them to come up as black men. That's what I get out of that.
That's that Reese Theron, or whatever, Charlize Theron said that she adopted 3 black African boys, and she's raising them as girls, dressing them as girls, putting earrings on, women's hairstyle, little girl samples, and painting their toenails and everything. And she's trying to raise them as girls, saying that black men are so horrible. See, that's the interesting thing. They put us out front as being the epitome of evil as it is associated with masculinity.
if we were so horrible, and so dangerous and so whatever, why are we the oppressed group? If that were true.
Let me give you an example. If you think of somebody that is a scofflaw or a deadbeat when it comes to paying child support, the first thing even this charlatan Barack Obama put up in a Father's Day speech is that black men are supposed to be the worst. Well, every judicial conference I went to and we got into the statistics, out of all the ethnic groups, black men pay their child support most regularly.
And do more. Absolutely. And with 20% of these single households raising children are black men, and that's never brought up. So they make it out that 70% of black children are abandoned by their fathers, when in reality maybe half of that 70%, 20% taken out of that. Off of that, 70% are black men raising children alone with none of the help that the black women get. And I'm not praising folks not having two parents in the household, but it's amazing that the black single fathers, my grandfather was a single father for a period of time, get no recognition, none. And we have a history of black fathers raising children alone and not getting any help, not recognized, it's not discussed, and yet this goes back whether women died in childbirth or what have you. And this is where I really hate feminism, and I despise black women that call themselves feminists, because that means that they hate black men. You either love black men and you're not a feminist, or you hate black men and you are a feminist. There's one or the other. You can't be a feminist black woman that likes black men. It's impossible. You know, I was talking to a policeman the other day saying that I have issues with police brutality, but I'm a hypocrite because if I were a cop and there were men out there raping women and children, I don't think they'd make it to the police station because that's not my temperament, so I could not be a policeman. We're supposed to protect our women, love our women, care about them, allow them so they can be soft and feminine and matronly and maternally. And feminine. This is what we're supposed to do. That's the least thing that we're supposed to do. And what I see a lot of black men doing is that we haven't created an environment where our women are able to be gentle, kind, feminine, and not having to be up in arms all the time. Yet they run over to other cultures to meet women where femininity has been defended and preserved. They want to go in a place where the women are allowed to be soft and gentle. And we can't have it both ways, expect our women to be soft and gentle and all that, and yet, you make life living hell for them. You don't defend them. You don't protect them. You don't nurture them. You don't love them. You're not there for them. We have to fess up to that as black men. I'm tired of who's got the biggest wanker or who's got the biggest this or the biggest car. What are you doing to provide safety, security, and stability for the women and children? This needs to be, that's how we should measure machoism, not by how many trips you make to the gym, how many condoms you went through in a week, but what are you doing to stabilize the society, the community, the family that you live in? Not to knock the sports or the car or the musculature, but ultimately it has to be about the provision, protection, procreation, and sustaining a people. And this message that you're preaching, Judge, and the reason folk are up in arms is they don't want people to hear what you're saying. And so, I'm always on the judge train. So, in fact, let's get on to that little movie you were talking about with the lesbian movie that you're talking about, sis.
Oh, you're talking about Queen and Slim. Did you guys want to tie that into before we move? Do you want to say anything regarding Kamala Harris? Do you think that ties into that narrative?
Well, if we can drop that tramp, I can't stand Kamala.
It's a fraud. Her Jamaican father says he is a Hindu and the descendant of white plantation owners, and his daughter, Kamala Harris, is a lying fraud. He wrote the article. Nobody quoted him. He wrote it. And he says she's not black. The only black she has in the family is he had a grandmother, her great-grandmother, who was part black. He says she is a Hindu Brahmin caste lady, and she is running off about being black. And he warned that a number of Indian Hindus who are dark complected are passing for black in America to get financial aid and stuff to go to school.
Yes,
she was
it's
not
true.
A black woman. So we don't do
she's not.
My mother was an Asian. She probably turned in her grave, knowing that this woman fronted off trying to be black. She's not.
Yeah,
she grew up
she's
in
a
Canada.
scam.
She went from kindergarten through high school in a Canadian school. She was born in San Francisco, and as soon as she was an infant, she left with her folks and went to Canada.
And let's talk about that for a second, Judge. I went to Howard with her, and her group used to be involved with the Caribbean Student Association. Do you know what they used to call the Black Americans? The guy's name was Chris Christian, was the president of Howard University Caribbean Student Association. And their word for us was Yankee niggers. That's what they called us. We weren't their sisters and brothers. Now, that's not how I feel about people in the diaspora, but that's 1985, 86, when she and I were at Howard together. She's active in that. And those Indian Douglas types, I had one nearly, her name's Mrs. Bryan. Nearly, she looks just like Kamala. Set it up where I had to spend an additional year in college. Just dogged the black people. They thought it was funny. They hate our guts. They hate the black folks in Jamaica's guts. They call them sufferers because they make them suffer. And they call themselves brown, not black, brown. They don't like us. And so also I just want to mention when I was talking to a friend of mine who sent me word that one of the things that helped Willie Brown get legislation passed through in San Francisco was that he could get Kamala to do BJs on political allies and enemies to get stuff. So, I mean, Kamala, she should be an Oric vacuum cleaner instead of a politician.
Yeah, and one other thing, too, had she run for president, been nominated, they would have brought out all those old L.A. Times articles about her sledding her way to the top. For being Willie Brown's business, when she was in her 20s, mid-20s. Willie Brown was the mayor of San Francisco, and he got her a job with the state of California, working 15 hours a week, making $72,000 a year, and that's 30-some years ago. Now, just
and then she got a.
And then when she got in law school, she got the job ramped up to 20 hours a week. She never did report, but she got paid $118,000 a year for 20 hours a week.
Yes, she did. That's right.
And then
you know what's
wanted to get with this firm, she couldn't get with the firm, so she started sleeping with one of their NBA player big-time clients, and she got hired. The Times reported on her, allegedly, that when she couldn't get hired in the DA's office, she started sleeping with the assistant director and got hired. I mean, if she had failed, she would have been a #Me2 primary. You know?
That's right. So, yeah, we don't. And I'm here in Baltimore. We warned her not to set up a headquarters here. If we found it, we were going to picket it. We were going to shut it down. So she shut her office here a few weeks ago, but do you know no one knows where the office was? Because they knew that we could get black folk here to say we didn't want Kamala. Kamala was a fake. Kamala doesn't like us. Kamala covered up for pedophiles. She covered up for people stealing black people's homes. She had black men who didn't belong in jail fighting forest fires in rich white areas where they shouldn't live, where there's a lot of brush. She's done everything she could to let people know she hates our guts. So it's good riddance. I hope they get rid of Deval Patrick. We need to get rid of all of these people. And Scumberg, he ain't going to get nothing either. Right about now, some of us really want something. If you're not bringing us something tangible, if you're not talking about cutting a check or something, we don't want you. And so I'm really disgusted. I saw some articles where they talk about black women feeling rejected. I hate to say this, but there are a lot of moron professional black women out there that run after everything they're told is black and female, and it has to be defended. There's a whole lot of worthwhile causes where black women need help or support or encouragement, and all these folks are missing, whether it's human trafficking, whether it's organ harvesting, whether it's a lack of access to credit. There's stuff that sisters could be doing for sisters instead of getting behind frauds like Kamala and another fraud named Obama. We have to stop being the bottom bees to the BS. I mean, Harriet Tubman and the other great black women didn't fall prey to this stuff without the credentials of education, because they dealt with principles of what's right and what's wrong. And I don't think it's impossible for that to happen now. So, please, Kamala needs to go. In fact, Kamala's nasty sister, that little Jewish woman that went over to Bloomberg, took pains to say that Kamala's sister, I think her name is Maya, is one of the nastiest people that they've ever encountered working in presidential campaigns. That's the one that was also friends to Juicy or Pussy Smollett, the one that was up in Chicago saying that white men are trying to hang him in sub-zero weather. Please. We need to remember that too, and that how she tried to put lynching with LGBTQ. This is what Kamala did, and that Kamala and Cory Booker with this boy Juicy to try to run this scam and drag black folks in the middle of it. We need to stop being pimped. I mean, Jussie is a swirl kid who the folks are Creoles and swirls, and Jewish and Creole, and then her family, the Kamala folk, are not really, they're not black folk. And so, Judge, just so that you know, I've been an advocate and used to be very involved in the human rights movement for the Dalits, the untouchables, the black people of India, that Kamala and them burn alive, rape, murder. Within the last 2 months, I saw a story where a boy who was an untouchable gave some chocolates to a woman that was in Kamala's caste, and they burnt the boy alive. They have 3 or 4 or 5 murders or more every day in India because the people are the original black people that were there. This is what Kamala's folks do. And everywhere that they go with this Hinduism, they dog black people. And I see all these idiots running after yoga like it's so wonderful. And I ask them, what has it done for the black people in India? What has it done for the black folks in other places other than them being at the bottom? And so they need to understand that Kamala's religion is that she's white and that the people like us came out of God's ass, literally. That's incredible that we run after people who think we came out of God's ass, and we feel like we're going to get something for supporting her. How stupid.
Speaking of things, she's a U.S. senator, and that casteism has been transplanted to America with a lot of the Indian immigrants. And some of the Indian citizens are suffering badly from it. And here you have a Hindu in the U.S. Senate, and this witch won't do a damn thing about it. Did she introduce any legislation to impact her own people favorably? No. Did she do anything about coming up with any ordinances that might make it an even playing field for her own type? Well, some of her own people? No. Because they got this thing that is far worse than race. I mean, you can be a Nobel Peace Prize winner. You can be a billionaire elsewhere in the world, but if you come from untouchability, which is what they call their bottom caste, to them, over there, you're only fit to go chase rats on somebody's farm.
And they rape them and murder them. When you hear about these rapes of women in the buses and everywhere else, they even rape black women from Africa in the street there, and it's not a crime. That's Kamala's caste raping black folks. It's normal. In fact, they have these things they call communal riots. every now and then, the blacks, if we could call them that, the untouchables, the Dalits, when they don't get paid their wages because they're sharecroppers, when they go in and they tell the people, they mass kill them, they murder them, nothing is done about it. In fact, one of the things that they tend to do when you demand your wage is to rape your mother, rip off all her clothes and make her walk around naked, and if you don't like it, you die. And black folks don't understand that the leader of India right now, all of them have a favorite historical figure. Their favorite historical figure is Adolf Hitler. Most people don't realize that the Indian liberation movement was supported by Adolf Hitler, and that Aryan movement, in fact, the Luciferians and the Satanists all have a relationship with Adolf Hitler and Nazism. They're connected. So, I mean, folk want to run after this and they don't do their research. You know, it's almost difficult to be around black folk and take them seriously when they don't take 2 or 3 minutes to look someone up. So, I mean, the Aryan, the so-called fake Aryan, is not the white folks. This is what you talk about all the time, Judge. It's not the blonde-haired, blue-eyed people in Germany. Those folks are imitating the caste system that existed in India, and they've taken it over to Europe. And the people that they kill and gas and they burn, before they did Jews, they did it to the blacks. And they kept it quiet about how that black girl, pretty black girl named Matrice Richardson, someone chopped her up like a bucket of chicken. She got picked up by the police over something they should have even taken her to a police station for. They released her in the middle of the night, and these racists or somebody, raped this girl up and chopped her up. When the family went to Kamala Harris and asked for help, she cursed them out and laughed at them when they couldn't get help. So I want to look at a black woman in the face and say, why would you want a woman whose job is to protect people and vulnerable people? They think it's funny that families can't find their children. And it's not just the Richardson family. So that's why I can't stand black feminists. Y'all don't mind black women being butchered and dismembered and thrown and not getting justice just because a black woman's running for office? Damn folk like that. I think we've dropped kick. And her real name is Kamala. Kamala. Say her name right. Kamala. How appropriate. It's not Kamala. That's what we'd like it to sound like. It's Kamala. And I wish it was spelled with a C. It'd be quite appropriate.
You said something. Do you think that this Reverend Barber, who you introduced, you think this has anything to do with what we're talking about today, or should we reserve that for tomorrow?
Oh, no. It's never too late to talk about his bloated asterisk. You've heard of him, Judge. He's a greasy preacher out of North Carolina that was president of the NAACP. The ones that made certain the cops always got off when they killed black people when he was president. You know him. You've seen he's supposedly repairing the breach, and he's got a big breach in his pants. His behind so big. Let me tell you, this man. I'm going to tell you a quick story about Reverend Barber before I go in. There's a boy named Afdal Leach. He got arrested, beaten and brutalized by the police because his family were folk who lived off the grid that were black. He got lost in the bicycle, and they accused him of the homemade fireworks that they had for the 4th of July of being a terrorist and claimed that he wanted to blow up the Democratic Party convention. Little kid lost in a bicycle. They beat him, hurt him, kept him in a jail cell with a drag queen. And I tried the best I could to get that kid out of jail down in Cabarrus County, North Carolina. And I almost got him out of jail, and I scared the hell out of the sheriff down there. And I had to deal with Reverend Barber would not back this innocent kid being released. And I told the grandmother, if they don't get that boy out, one of your grandkids could commit suicide behind the fallout for this. I hope not. That's why I'm working so hard. Make a long story short, a boy about 16 years old or 14 years old hung themselves. Barber could have helped them. Barber betrayed an innocent black family that was being terrorized by the KKK. He knows my name. I know him, and I'll tell you something about Barber, and then I'm done. I'll get back. I'll say some more about him. What Barbara and them teach is that there's a liberation theology, black liberation theology. I repeat, their black liberation theology teaches that Jesus Christ is a black, transgendered, biracial woman. And they teach that liberation theology for the blacks are three parts. Blacks are blacks, blacks are women, blacks are homosexuals. And that's what this man pushes, is a false gospel and a false concept of what liberation is. And that's a scam. And they built him up, they put him everywhere, and they want to make him, I call him Martin Luther Queen, because he pushes this filth. So now that I've explained that, he's in the United Church of Christ. You know, that's a creepy church. You know, it's a creepy church, Judge. All the radical black gay stuff comes out of the United Church of Christ. I should know. Okay? My mom's in that church. And I'm going to say something to y'all. Jim Jones was in the United Church of Christ. Remember him? Took the black folks down. He was a pedophile, communist, child molester, rapist. Took those black folks down and had them mass murdered in Guyana, South America. That's the same church that Reverend Barber's in. These folks are communists, believe me. And I'm not against social programs for the poor and all that, but nobody loves us more than we can love ourselves. We don't need the left or the right. We need each other. I don't care who doesn't understand what I'm saying. Now, back to that. Reverend Barber, they've given him a MacArthur Genius Grant. They have this so-called Poor People's Campaign. I was initially going to get involved until I learned it was a gay thing. And because I have friends in the King family, I couldn't put Dr. King, my relationship with the King family, in the middle of something gay, even if some of the Kings are gay. I'm not going to do it. So I had to get out of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference up in Baltimore over this. It's not anti-gay, that's not the movement. The movement isn't for us to have sex in bathrooms and glory holes and get our genitals cut off and pretend that we're women. Civil rights was about black folk getting theirs. Now, Barber, now that I've done that, my problem with Barber is that he's got two gospels, one real, one false. Okay. Goodness gracious, he's got two of everything, including two asses. And now he's hooking up with Booty Check, the mayor from South Bendover, Indiana. Now he's trying to prop up this dude who can't even get 10 black people to come together in South Bend, Indiana without a fight because he's been so horrible to them. This is what he's doing. Now, this man with this so-called repairers of the breach and their moral Mondays, whatever else they want to do, they're trying to further make black folks come under the gay movement. Within the last week, Reverend Barber said that there's no division between the LGBTQ community and black people, as if we're the same thing. And see, this same guy, Booty Check, said he can understand black people because he's gay. That's like saying I could understand other people because of what sex I have, or I eat bowel movement. I mean, we should be insulted. Even Al Sharptons disagreed with him, but not Martin Luther King. I call him Bishop Man-Titty, that gross, greasy-haired slob, Reverend Barber.
All right, guys, I am going to stop it right there. I hope and pray that you enjoyed that little snippet of what's to come. Tariq Nasheed in the building, also Dr. Randy Short, and of course, Judge Joe Brown. Hitting some hot topics, definitely doing that. Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 929-477-1167. You can visit MissValerieDeniseJones.com, aka the JudgeJoeBrownShow.com for more details. Also, stay tuned, subscribe, watch out. Sign up for the alerts because I will be uploading the full audio from Friday here in just a bit. Other than that, I'll meet you guys down in the comment section. I hope you're having a great day. Talk soon. Goodbye.